Hello and welcome to episode 21 of the Alfa Romeo Driver Podcast, brought to you by the Alfa Romeo Owners Club. I'm Guy Swarbrick, and this week I'm joined by John Griffiths, Club Chairman, Nick Wright, the Club Manager, and by David Faithful. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hello, Guy.
Thanks, Guy.
Good afternoon.
Great to be here.
Later on in the podcast, we're going to discuss the recent Classic and Sportscar magazine awards. But first, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the club's second event for 2021, which was announced in the last week or so.
Yeah, so we're delighted that we've been able to get National Alfa Day 2021 organised for 27th of June 2021 at Bicester Heritage, which we got nicely lined up for this year, but had to be cancelled before it was properly announced. But it's really, really good news. And Nick's done some grand work communicating with both Bicester Heritage and Alfa UK, so we're going to have some super support from both angles. It's a terrific venue, and I think the key thing is we're going to build on the great event we had in 2019, where we had getting on for 1,000 cars and over 1,500 people along. So it should be really good.
And are we able to talk any more about what the support from Alfa is, Nick, or is that still a secret?
Still a secret for the moment, I think, Guy. We can do. John and I have been working with them last year. To put on some various things, and we're hoping we're just going to roll those over to next year. But we're waiting for confirmation from them. But we will make a big announcement in due course.
Yeah. So I think in 2019 it was all new for everybody, and I think the team on the ground on the day, which included all of us here, plus the volunteers from the local sections, did a cracking job of really making the members' cars the stars. Unfortunately, the Heritage Centre, because the various businesses that are based there are independent operations, they're not always open for weekend events. I guess we were hoping for a few more to have been open, but that was by the by. It was a tremendous thing to split the cars up as they were and line them up by model and area. It made a fabulous day all round, I think. But our members' cars were the stars. Now that's still going to be absolutely core to it, of course, but we want to add to that. And Alfa UK are very much behind us. So it will be different. There might be some layout changes, and there'll certainly be some brand new elements, not just from Alfa UK. We've got some great support from Pirelli, for example, as very much backers of the club. So should be loads of really good stuff, I think.
And I guess, when we did it in 2019, if you were a Bicester Heritage business, you had no idea how many people were going to turn up, whether it was worth you coming. Whereas now they know we had 1,000 cars there in 2019. So there's more of an incentive perhaps for them to open up.
We've got a bit of history. Yeah, we can, I think, approach them ourselves, go around there and say, look, this is what we did last time, and hopefully get a few more along. On the Pirelli front, I don't know if anyone remembers last time, they were going to bring their simulators along, which unfortunately went walkies from the van overnight just before the event. So we couldn't have them, but they're all replaced now. So all being well, they'll be there. And, I've been doing more basic things this morning, like booking the toilet block, which is never quite as exciting, but just as important.
It's all necessary.
Very, very important.
Yeah. There's some new operations in at Bicester as well, so we may well get those people that are new to the site interested in joining in with us too. So without giving too much of a game away.
Yeah, I think as you say, we know more this time. We were there a few years ago. It was massive, and I'm not even sure we expected it to be as big in 2019. So
we didn't.
Sort of a bit of a surprise to us. In fact, I think we ran out of the free pizzas and what have you. So I think, we're more prepared now. Alfa Romeo, the whole world's coming out of lockdown, hopefully by then, and they want to do something different, the same as Pirelli want to do something different, and we can approach the businesses who are there and so on, which we didn't do before. So I think we can make it even more special than the last one. I mean, the last one was fabulous, but I think we can do better for sure.
Yeah.
And I think our members deserve it. We've been basically sat at home or on Zoom and what have you for the last 12 months. We're going to want some a big event come summertime next year.
But despite all being sat at home and on Zoom and things for the last year, I think what the club has done has been recognised. So the other other bit of news that we wanted to discuss today was the Classic and Sportscar magazine club awards. And before we get on to too much about what we won and why we think we won it, David, tell us a little bit about the decision to enter the awards and the process we had to go through to do that.
Well, it's awkward, isn't it? Because they ask for nominations from the clubs. So you know, it would be nice to sort of sit here and think someone would nominate us, but that's just not how it works. You have to sort of nominate yourself, which kind of feels a bit awkward, doesn't it? So we had a chat as the board and we said, well, look, if you think about all the good stuff we've done this year, on top of the good stuff we already do, we didn't, you know, downgrade anything for our members. If anything, we've given them significantly more value, I think. We've got more partnerships. Our magazine is bigger and better. Everything that we've done new this year, like podcasts that we're on now, like the virtual racing, you know, it may have been conceived because of COVID and you know, for ghastly reasons, but they've become tremendously successful, and they've become the new normal sort of thing. So yeah, when we spoke about it as a board, we said, well, we haven't put ourselves forward for this for years and years, but if you look back at everything we've done in the last year, we've made tremendous improvements and additional benefits, but that's on top of it was already really good. So it's not like we were in a terrible state and now we're a bit better. We were in a brilliant state and now we're awesome. So it just felt like the right time to put ourselves forward, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, in 2017, when we came runners up to TBR, we knew we'd got a solid case then. I think what I liked was in gaining the Club of the Year awards, A, it was a unanimous decision that we'd won it, but B, they recognised that a lot of the new initiatives were not just for COVID, it was from feedback from the member survey that we put out at the beginning of the year. So a lot of this stuff was gearing up anyway, and that's pretty important.
You mentioned being runners up in 2017. Is that the best we'd done up until now, as far as anyone can remember?
Yeah, as an overall club, yeah. I think in the past we've been entered and actually have won awards with the members magazine. It was a difficult one though, because that category is always the most improved magazine, and when it's consistently good, it's hard to win that, you know. And there's been some other mentions and dispatches for different things too, but it does take a little bit of a time to put a complete package together for that competition. So, you know, for the main one, and I think we were very, very sensible to enter it this year, and it's great, and it's not just rewarding a few people that have done the work; it's across the entire blinking lot. So, yeah, the initiatives have been terrific, and I think I called it out when I wrote that little bit to go on the homepage in recognition. That there's been some superb individual initiatives done. Guy, yourself, you've done one heck of a lot to get the podcasts going, to get the virtual racing and see all that through, and overseeing a bigger and better magazine. David and Nick, you've both worked really hard on getting more membership benefits and so on, improving the website too, you know. So there's been some terrific individual efforts, but at a general level, right across the piece from the club's management, across registers, sections, there's been a real collective effort to make the club better and better this year and last year. Bringing the archive online, that was what a load of work that was, that John Dooley, who our dear departed former chairman, put in to create with we've got 6 decades of magazines online now. That's phenomenal. And and it'll be carried forward, supported there by Grant Richardson and webmaster Bill Smith, of course. So, you know, that was a great thing that we've got rolling out to go there. So, and then you've got the effort that Paul Jones put in particular to ensure that we landed the affinity scheme with Alfa Romeo UK, giving club members basically whacking great discounts on new cars. It's tremendous. You know, we've been trying as a club to get that with Alfa UK for a long while, and I think having a more generally rounded and convincing club offering, we won them over, and that was brilliant. And now people are benefiting from that.
And you mentioned John there, and I guess one of the sad things which somebody raised on the Facebook group is that it's a shame John didn't get to see the fact that we'd won it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's where we are. How many categories did we enter, David?
We entered 4 categories. We entered for Club of the Year, naturally, and well deserved. We entered for the best virtual event, because obviously, typically, the awards include the best event, but hardly anything took place, did it? So they introduced a category of the best virtual event. And what we spotted, or what we believed was, and as it turned out, we spotted that quite a few people did sort of one-off events, but of course our virtual racing is we launched that months and months ago, and it's never stopped. It's just continued. So we thought we had a really good chance with the virtual racing. We entered for the best magazine, and we also entered you for the Lockdown Hero Award, and that was for a multitude of things, obviously, because we've spoken about the virtual racing podcasts and so on, but I don't think people really recognize the amount of work you do behind the scenes, not just in those initiatives, but particularly in terms of the magazine and all of the work that goes into that, because we quickly forget, don't we? At the beginning of this pandemic, content very quickly dried up for our magazine. And we have to remember that the magazine is, 90% or so is member derived content. And it's from when people take their Alfas out, when we go to big events, and, lots of things to do with people's cars. And we were all shut indoors. So, the tremendous efforts you made getting new, innovative and different content for the magazine, such that it went from 88 pages to 98 pages. Yeah, there was 4 categories: Club of the Year, Best Virtual Event, Best Magazine, and a Lockdown Hero nomination for yourself.
And a win and a highly commended across the 4, which is not bad going, is it? 50%
I think it's brilliant
win rate.
Yeah, honestly,
they're bound to share out the awards around different clubs. So and to win the big one was tremendous.
I did think, to be fair, it was the winner of the virtual event was the Gay Classic Car Club with their Fix It weekend. And when I looked at that was a really cool virtual event, actually. So yeah, I do think we should have won on all the categories, obviously. but I think their Fix It weekend was a really cool idea. So yeah, and I quite liked that. This is obviously my first time through this process, but there's an awful, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people in the motoring club world, and everyone's absolutely working their asses off to keep delivering more benefits for their members. And so I just think it was a good process to go through. A great end result for us, but a great result for everybody. It was a really friendly, nicely run process. I really enjoyed being part of it.
And what do you think in terms of how we use the fact that we've won it, and our upcoming attempt to retain or win something else next year? Do you think we can use that almost like the membership survey to guide some of the things we do over the next 12 months?
My view is all of these things attract feedback from our members, either positive or less positive. So to be honest, everything we do is informing what we do next. Do you know what I mean? We do want to deliver a world-class motoring club, and we happen to love and adore Alfa Romeos, but if it was any other brand, we'd still want to deliver world-class membership benefits. So I do think that it has helped our credibility, really, isn't it? It's we put a lot of work in, and as John says, it's not us, it's hundreds of volunteers all around the UK running our registers, sections, and everything that everybody does in this club, all on a volunteer basis. It's a recognition of all the hard work that everyone's done. But yeah, it does help our credibility. But fundamentally, it's just another thing where we're seeing the feedback from our members, and the overwhelming majority of our members say, you really deserve that. All of the feedback that we've got is, yes, well deserved, well done, chaps. Now let's move on. And I think this, like everything else we do, just informs what we do next. And we've got to, I mean, it is quite a challenge because, of course, as soon as you hit Club of the Year, there's kind of only one way to go next, isn't there? So we're going to have to really, pull out all the stops in the coming years, I think, to just keep building on our current proposition.
And I think the other thing is we know as well that, and having been a member for over 30 years, not every angle of the club appeals to everybody either. So, the virtual racing is great for a group. It's podcasts aren't for everybody, but it's great that we offer it and people have a choice. Even events, I've been involved with those since about 1991, I think. You can do an event at a racetrack and people think that's boring. You can do one at a stadium home, people think it's boring, but you have a variety, and that's the thing we should do. Keep up the variety of the offering and varied things.
No, well, the thanks goes to obviously people who organise these things and come up with the ideas, and the individuals we've mentioned. It also goes down to the members who support them, because obviously if we didn't do them, if no one joined the Zoom meetings, for example, or came to the events, we wouldn't be able to hold them, and therefore the club wouldn't be the entity that it is, would it? So it does go right down to the ground.
Well, it sounds like we might have a good stab at the event of the year with what we're planning to do at National Alfa Day. So maybe we should start writing the entry at the beginning of July.
And as well as praying it doesn't rain. Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe we write the entry in May of what we think we would need to do for National Alfa Day to win, and then make sure we do that in
There's an idea.
We talked a little bit about the changes that have happened in terms of partnerships. And I know one of the things that we did, Andrew Whitehead was heavily involved with this, was to produce virtual racing liveries with all of our partners' logos and things on. I think they are now starting to be used by our partners to promote the club, which is nice.
Yeah, for example, Chipex have been involved. They've advertised this last year with us, and they've given us 10% discount on the membership scheme for a number of years now. They were really excited when I showed them the cars. They've been putting them on their Instagram and Facebook accounts now, and you say help promoting the club. They're excited to get to maintain the advertising for next year, maybe looking at doing a little bit more. I think they've got some exciting news coming in the new year that I've been asked not to share with anyone for the moment, but so that side of it is all really good.
I think the phrase Chipex used, which I quite liked, was if you own an Alfa Romeo, you should be a member of the club, which I think we all agree with.
Absolutely, yeah,
that's super. We like that one.
Well, the other thing, Chipex is one example, but we have a lot of discount partners, companies like Best Western Hotels. They absolutely love the VRC, the virtual cars, than what we've done. And actually, of course, Halford's just recently renewed, didn't they, for another year? So I know that when we shared, I mean, Nick and I are always sharing, livery cars off of our virtual racing with partners because they do love it. But Halford's absolutely loved it as well. When we're on a scale of, compared to Halford's, they're enormous and we're quite small. But they look at what we've done for them and they just see, oh, okay, well, they're really pulling all the stops out. They're trying their best to share the Halford's brand and so on, as we do for all of our partners. So I think these things demonstrate to our partners that we're not just, frankly, abusing them, just giving discounts away, but we are giving our members benefit of some discount in return for promoting their businesses. And that's what they need. If you look back over this year, Halford's, it may be big, but just like anybody else, the footfall through their doors has massively dropped off a cliff in the last 6 months. So, the more we can encourage our members to use these discounts, as opposed to buying from another supplier, then the better our partnership is. And I think that really helped with extending, Halford's is one of many who are going through a process of questioning, should we be giving away 10% with some of these partnerships? And they're, it is tough now to extend these partnerships, but I'm certain all of the little bits and bobs that we do for them really encourage them to stay with us.
You use the word partnership, David, is quite right, rather than just a benefits or a discount scheme, because a partnership is just that, isn't it? It's a two-way thing. they do like to, as you say, they like to see they're getting something back in return for it. So.
And remember, some of our partners they're not the size of Halfords. We have partners like Disclock and Torch Direct and Blue Spark and David Thomas Motoring Books. So, these are not multinational conglomerates. These are small businesses, but they give brilliant services and products for our members. And in return, we should go out of our way to try and bring our members to them. It's just obvious that's the mutually beneficial partnership, isn't it?
I agree, and we have to keep plugging it as well with our members, because they don't necessarily know about it. So I think it's important that through our communications we make sure people are aware of them. I know it's been lifted up on the main website too as potentially an attraction for somebody to join the club as well. But it's good for us to keep reminding existing members what they can get or what they might be missing out on.
And in terms of it going beyond just discounts, just to go back to Halfords for a moment. We haven't announced the details of the next Virtual Racing Championship, but I think we're probably in a position to announce the sponsor for it.
Yeah, and for sure. And I think, as we said, Halfords loved what we were doing with the cars, and they didn't just love the Halfords liveried cars. They loved that we'd liveried up all of the cars. And so Halfords are delighted to sponsor our next championship. They've stumped up £250 of Halfords vouchers as the main prize. So I think it would be an exciting, start to the new year, particularly with a partnership with Halfords. But they also want to do other things as well. Although it's not firmed up, we've talked about, well, why can't we have Halfords with a gazebo at National Alfa Day? Why, and whether we do that with Halfords National or do it with one or two of the local Halfords branches, that's completely up to us. So Halfords are fully supportive of that as well. We just need to sort it out, obviously. But that would be cool, wouldn't it? At our big events, you have a big Halfords gazebo there, and they give some, instructional help and assistance and what have you. All of these things it's over and above just simply, can you give us 10% discount for our members? It's something more than that, I think.
And can they come and change the light bulb on my 156 for me, please?
Well, can you imagine? They'll all be queuing up, won't they? You get to National Alfa Day, they're not queuing to get in or out. They're queuing at the Halfords thing to get their bulbs and wiper blades done.
Yeah, so I guess one of the things that we've talked about is the fact that we can't stop where we are. We have to carry on developing the club. We've had a good year. We've introduced a bunch of new things, and there's some things planned for this year. So I think one of the things that we're all working on at the moment is an electronic newsletter to fill in the gaps between the 2 monthly magazine.
Yeah, and that gives us some great opportunities as well for keeping people up to date, and by direct email to members as well. So we're not just relying on people self-serving off a website to learn about things. And I think I'm just thinking about maybe 10 years or so, there was always a thinner printed newsletter in between the bi-monthly magazines, and those were popular. But also, of course, I'll reiterate, there's no intention to take the printed magazine away and replace that with anything solely electronic. People love having that printed matter in their hands, and that's the constant that we get back speaking to members and through surveys and so on. So, but I think an electronic intermediate newsletter could be a really good thing, and it gives us opportunity again to mention these member benefits and partnerships and so on too. So good material, hopefully.
And it's not just, well, let's be truthful. We haven't quite worked out exactly what's going to be in this newsletter, but we do know that in normal times, a lot of the content that we aim to get into the magazine doesn't all make it. We only have, is it 98, 99 pages, and it's a balance, isn't it? You can't get every member story and every useful bit of information into every magazine. So I think we've got content that doesn't make it to the magazine. We know that we only publish a few of the letters that we receive. So that, there's a lot of opportunities to, in between our published magazines, give our members some more stuff to read, some interesting stuff. What we don't want to do is is just give them some drivel, so, and that's why we've not finished all the planning for this. It's another means of communicating with our members. We've got to plan it properly and make sure we give them something of value, something of interest. Otherwise it's
not just
spam.
It's not just whole articles that don't make it into the magazine. There are the magazine format. I'm a huge fan of paper magazines, but there are some features that we receive that are just too long to go in the magazine, and don't naturally split into multiple parts. And delivering those electronically gives us a way of doing things in a format that we couldn't do in the magazine.
And also, of course, when we get a new product or new service come along, we have a big splash about it online and in the magazine and everything. But if someone misses that initial thing, then it's gone, isn't it? They don't know it exists. So it's important that we do keep telling the members what is available to them. So.
That's right. Part of the fun of having organising the East Midlands section is for many a year we've done a newsletter. For a long time it was printed, but of course you had limitations there, 8 pages. But during lockdown, with people sending me material, our online version, I think it grew to 49 pages at one point. And that wasn't all about detailing. Maybe a bit of it was, but it's great. And it's great to to get people's mentions and their photos of themselves with their cars and so on. I think members enjoy that a lot. So it's another potential avenue for that anyway.
So I guess one of the things, despite all the extra things that we've done with the lack of events and everything else, I guess there was a risk at the start of the year that we could have lost a lot of members during the course of the year, but that's not happened, has it?
No, it's not, and I think we've all been delighted that the membership is remarkably similar to last year, which is tremendous. I mean, we do always grow at a rate, and there's been over 550 people joined the club this year. And again, there's always a churn as people sell their Alfa. That's the usual reason for not being a member anymore. But we're extremely heartened that we've stayed at the level we are. And added to that, the Facebook group, has been constantly growing too. And we're now at over 11,000 members on the main AROC Facebook group, over 20,000 people engaged with. And I think that makes us the biggest Alfa fan site UK-wise, which is terrific.
And I guess in terms of membership, we do sign a lot of people up at events, and one of the reasons for that, I suspect, is that if you join at an event, you don't have to pay the joining fee. So it was interesting to see the Black Friday deal this year to kind of replicate that without events.
Yeah, and I think it was important for us to recognise that without the physical events, people don't get that opportunity for the discounted new membership. So we did the Black Friday deal, and I think it was pretty positive actually. People sort of recognised that it was a good thing to do in a sort of pre-Christmas. We also lined it up with it was the right sort of time of year, so someone could buy membership as a gift, and we would package it as a gift but put it in the recipient's name and so on. And the other thing that we've spotted as well is the sort of our concessionary memberships, because our standard membership is £40 on direct debit, or £42.50, but we've got the concession membership for under 25s and over statutory retirement, and that's £10 off. I spoke to a Mito owner recently where he saw the Black Friday and he said, it's 40 quid there. It's quite a lot of money. I said, well, how old are you? And he said, well, I'm 21. I said, well, it's 30 quid for you. Then you can get a concessionary membership. So I think to be honest, the more we publicize both the benefits of our club and the deals that they can get joining our club, the better value the club looks. And as long as we are fair to all members, as I think we were with the Black Friday deal, that was instead of a physical event at which we would have provided a discount. So we may try that again. We may look at other ways of encouraging new members, but I think, as John says, overwhelmingly our memberships pretty much stayed consistent over the year, and that's at a time when a lot of clubs have suffered quite significant losses actually. So I think we've come out of it very well, considering.
And I think our sign up for the Black Friday deal was pretty much in line with attendance at the NEC car show. Is that right? Classic car show, Nick?
It is, yes. It's a similar sort of figure. Obviously a lot less effort to sit at home and to take them in like that than stand in the NEC for 3 days talking to people. That did work well.
I did miss the NEC today because it's a great opportunity just to do that, though, isn't it, Nick?
It is. You meet so many
To get-
people, and you can't beat that, can you? And it's
Yeah, the great enthusiasts that appear from Ireland and Scotland and wherever, and the Italians that come over too.
It's no surprise they had to cancel this year, though, was it? I can't see it working at all in the end.
Oh,
they,
no.
they held on to the last minute,
No,
but
no.
it was never meant to be.
Very much so. I think we just about got cars lined up, and then woof, it was definitely off. But no, it could have been extremely difficult. But the big lockdown put an end to it.
I do think the growth of Facebook group, though, is we shouldn't really underestimate that, because we've hit over 11,000. I think, as you said, John, that's probably the biggest UK group, and we're quite particular about who we let in the group. We don't just let any Tom, Dick, or Harry in, do we? You know, you have to answer the questions. We check that you're not blocked in any other groups that we're members or owners of. We check that you've been in Facebook for at least 3 or 5 years. So there's a lot of things that we don't just let everybody in. So I know there are other groups out there who are approaching our sort of size, but we could be at 20,000 easily if we let everybody in. But we're trying to build a friendly community rather than, you know, chase a big number. We just happen to have got a big number by following that fairly clear process. To
the moderators, and admins across all of those groups. It's a funny old world, Facebook, and it's very difficult for us to maintain the rules and keep it as a happy and enthusiastic bunch of people when there can be some rather difficult ones out there, even going through the criteria to become a member on it. So it's hard work, and those guys that give up their free time 24 hours a day effectively covering it do a cracking job. It's not easy. But I'm really heartened to see it growing, and there's some. I don't want to be over negative on it. There's some super stuff that goes on through those Facebook pages, and I know there's been some genuine, proper friendships made through it as well. And you know, meeting up with some of those people at National Alfa Day, you know, last time we ran one was great, and so there's a lot of positives to it. But it takes effort. So you know, around big pat on the back from me and the board and everybody involved with that. And for everybody being part of it, it's a good community.
Brilliant. And talking of community and the Alfa Romeo family, this is our last podcast before Christmas. So I think we'd probably all like to take the opportunity to wish all the members and their families a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and as festive a Christmas as we can have in the circumstances.
Indeed, Happy Christmas to everyone. As we all keep saying, let's hope next year is better and we can all get out and enjoy our Alfas again.
Absolutely. Yeah. As part of Club of the Year. How about that?
Yeah. Have a great Christmas, everyone. And make sure you keep your batteries charged or you'll regret it in the new year.
Absolutely. Cheers.
Brilliant. Thanks, everyone. Well, that's it for this episode. All that remains is for me to add my own Christmas wishes to those of John, Nick and David, and wish you all a happy and hopefully less socially distanced New Year. We'll be back on Sunday the 3rd of January from 1:30 p.m. on all your favourite podcast sources, when we'll have a mystery guest. Till then, stay safe.